Imagine this for a second. A rock weighing as much as a human. Or even a car tire. Somehow sliding across solid ground, without breaking, without stopping. And without any clear force pushing it. And then it leaves behind a trail. Sometimes straight. Sometimes curved. Sometimes even zigzagging like something was changing its mind while moving. But when scientists came to study it, they found something even more disturbing. Because at the time of movement, nothing was there. No animals. No humans. No visible disturbance. Just empty silence. Before we continue, please like this video, comment and subscribe to this channel. Now imagine standing there for a moment. You are looking at a rock that weighs as much as a person, maybe more, sitting in the middle of a completely flat, empty desert. No water. No animal. No body, just silence. And behind it is a trail that proves it has moved. The question that instantly comes to mind is simple. What is moving it? Because nothing in normal life behaves like this. Rocks don't move on their own. And even if something was pushing them, there should be signs. Footprints. Disturbance. Tracks something. This phenomenon happens in a place known as Racetrack Playa in Death Valley, California. At first glance, it looks like the kind of place where nothing could ever happen. It is dry, cracked, and completely empty. The ground stretches out like a dead lakebed, surrounded by silence that feels almost unnatural. And yet, scattered across this place are dozens of stones. Each one sitting alone. Each one with its own story written into the ground behind it. For decades, this became one of the most frustrating mysteries scientists ever tried to solve. Because every time they arrived to study it, nothing happened. The rocks would stay completely still. No movement. No warning. No pattern they could catch in real time. It was as if the place only performed when no one was watching. Naturally, theories started to appear. Some people believed strong winds were pushing the rocks across the flat ground. But there was a problem with that idea. Many of these rocks are far too heavy to be moved by normal wind. Others suggested animals might be responsible. But there are no footprints. No disturbances in the soil. No signs of anything dragging or pushing. It did not make sense. And that is what made it so frustrating. Because the evidence was undeniable. The rocks were moving. The trails were real. But the cause was invisible. So for a long time, the mystery remained unsolved. Until scientists began to look at something very simple, something most people would ignore completely. The weather. And slowly, a strange pattern began to appear. During rare conditions, something unusual happens in this desert. At night, temperatures drop so low that a thin layer of ice forms over the ground. Not thick ice like a frozen lake, but a fragile, almost invisible sheet. And when morning comes, the sun begins to warm the surface. That is when something subtle starts to happen. The ice begins to crack. It begins to melt slightly. And in some cases, it breaks into large floating sheets. Now combine that with gentle wind. Not strong wind. Just enough pressure to move these thin sheets across the surface. And trapped inside these moving ice panels are the rocks. So instead of the rocks moving on their own, they are being pushed very slowly by a combination of ice and wind. But here is the part that makes it still feel strange. It happens so slowly that it is almost impossible to see in real time. If you were standing there, you would see nothing happening at all. No movement. No sound. No obvious change. Just the same silent desert, while something heavy is being shifted across the ground right in front of you without you noticing. That is why for so long, it felt impossible. Because the movement was not dramatic. It was patient. Almost invisible. And that is what makes this place so fascinating even today. Even after the explanation, even after the science is understood, the feeling does not fully go away. Because when you first see those trails carved into the ground, your brain still tries to ask the same question. What moved this rock, when no one was there to see it happen? And in that silence, Racetrack Playa still manages to feel like one of the strangest places on Earth. Not because it breaks the laws of nature, but because it almost convinces you that it does. Subscribe for more hidden mystery.